The dust had not even settled when the wagon stopped at the gate. Martha stepped down slow, her boots hitting the dry ground with a soft thud. She held her bag close to her chest like it was the only thing she owned in the whole world. Maybe it was. Silas stood on his porch, arms crossed, eyes narrow. He looked her up and down the way a man looks at a horse he does not want to buy. Then he laughed. Not a kind laugh, a mean one. "This ain't what I asked for," he said, loud enough for the whole street to hear. "I wrote for a wife, not a barn door." Some folks nearby turned to look. A woman gasped. A boy giggled behind his hand. Martha's face went red, but she did not cry. She did not run either. She just stood there, straight and still, like a tree that would not fall in the wind. Tom watched from across the road, his hand frozen on his horse's rein. His chest felt tight. He wanted to shout at Silas, tell him to shut his mouth, but he said nothing. Shame is a strange thing. It can keep a good man silent when he should speak. Then Martha did something nobody expected. She set her bag down slow. She walked right up to Silas's fence, the one leaning sideways and about to fall. Without one word, she grabbed the loose post, planted her boots wide, and pushed it back straight with her own two hands. The street went quiet. Even Silas stopped laughing. She looked at him, calm as still water. "Reckon a barn door holds things up better than a man who talks too much," she said. A few people laughed then, but not at her this time. Tom felt something shift in his chest, something he could not yet name. He watched Silas's face turn from smug to small, and he watched Martha pick her bag back up, ready to walk away with her head high, though she had nowhere left to go. Tom crossed the road before he let himself think twice. His boots kicked up dust as he walked straight past Silas without a glance. He stopped in front of Martha, who still stood tall despite everything. "Ma'am," he said, his voice rougher than he meant it to be. "My name's Tom. I got a ranch 2 miles east. Needs a strong hand and honest help. If you're willing, you got a place there." Silas snorted from his porch. "You sure about that, Tom? Look at the size of her." Tom did not turn around. His jaw tightened. "I'm sure about kindness, Silas, something you know nothing about." The street went silent again. Martha's eyes searched Tom's face, looking for the trick, the catch. She had been fooled before by soft words. "Why?" she asked simply. "Because it ain't right, what happened here," Tom said. "And my ranch needs someone who ain't afraid of hard work." Martha studied him a moment longer, then nodded once. She picked up her bag herself, before Tom could offer, and walked toward his wagon like she had already decided this before he asked. The ride to the ranch was quiet. Tom stole glances at her now and then, but she kept her eyes on the land passing by, taking it all in, the dry fields, the tired fences, the small house that needed paint. When they arrived, Martha did not wait for instructions. She walked straight to the barn where a young calf lay weak in the corner. She knelt down without hesitation, pressing her hand to its side, feeling its breath. "This one's sick," she said. "Been sick 2 days, maybe 3. You got any ginger root in that kitchen?" Tom blinked. "How'd you know that?" "Grew up on a farm bigger than this one," she said, not looking up. "Animals don't lie about being sick. People just don't always look close enough." Tom stood there watching her work, feeling something shift inside him he did not yet have words for. The letter came on a hot afternoon, carried by a rider who did not stay long. Tom read it twice, his hands shaking a little. The bank wanted its money in 10 days, or the ranch would belong to someone else. He sat down hard on the porch steps, head in his hands. 10 days was nothing. Not enough time to sell cattle, not enough time to do anything. Martha found him there as the sun started to sink. She did not ask what was wrong. She just sat beside him and waited, the way she always did when words needed time to come. "Bank's taking the ranch," Tom finally said. 10 days, I don't have what they want." Martha was quiet for a moment. Then she stood up, brushing dust from her skirt. "How many cattle you got left that's healthy?" 40, maybe 45. "That's enough," she said. if we move fast and smart." That night she told him about her father's ranch back east, how it near failed twice, how she learned to read weather in the sky and sickness in an animal's walk before anyone else noticed. She knew a buyer 3 towns over who paid fair prices, no matter how the cattle looked on the outside. The next morning dark clouds rolled in fast, faster than either of them expected. Wind picked up, bending the trees sideways. A storm was coming and it looked mean. "We move the herd now," Martha said, already grabbing rope, "before that storm scatters them across 3 counties." Tom hesitated only a second before following her lead. They worked through wind and rain, Martha shouting directions like she had done this 100 times before. Lightning cracked. Thunder rolled. Tom's horse reared once, but Martha grabbed its rein steady, calming it with a low voice. By the time the storm passed, they were soaked, exhausted, but every last cow stood safe in the north pasture. Tom looked at Martha through the fatting rain, chest heaving, and realized something clear as the washed sky above them. She had just saved everything he owned. Word spread fast through town. By the time Tom and Martha rode in with the herd, folks stood along the street watching, whispering to each other. 45 cattle, healthy and strong, walked steady down the road like nothing had happened, like no storm had tried to take them. The buyer from 3 towns over met them at the pen just as Martha said he would. He looked over the cattle, nodded slow, and paid fair price, no haggling needed. Tom counted the money twice, hands still trembling, but this time not from fear. He had enough, more than enough. The ranch was safe. Silas stood at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed like before, but his face looked different now, smaller somehow. He watched Martha walk past him, head high, boots steady on the ground, and he said nothing, not one word. A woman from the general store stepped forward, touching Martha's arm gentle. "That was a fine thing you did, saving Tom's herd like that." Martha just nodded, quiet as always, not needing the praise but not pushing it away either. Tom walked up beside her, and for the first time he did not hesitate. He took her hand in front of the whole town, in front of Silas, in front of everyone who had laughed that first day at the gate. "Martha," he said, loud enough for all to hear, "I was a fool once standing quiet while a good woman got shamed. Won't happen again, not while I'm breathing." Martha looked at him, surprise flickering in her eyes, then something softer replacing it. "Reckon I already knew that," she said, "the day you crossed that road." The crowd was quiet a moment, then someone started clapping, and soon the whole street joined in, even the woman who had gasped that first day. Silas turned and walked away without a word, his shadow small against the setting sun. Tom and Martha stood together, hands still joined, the ranch behind them safe, the town before them changed, and a whole life ahead of them just beginning.